England landed in Miami yesterday ahead of the World Cup, and they are now holding their first training session, and watching it for us is Rob Dorset. Rob.
Absolutely, Dharmesh, they're here, they're out there, they're on the grass. I have to say, it's a little bit strange, this grass, so there's been a lot of talk about it in the tournament so far, but the England players are out there training as we speak to you right now. It's incredibly hot. Boy, is it hot. It's in excess of 30 degrees Celsius with the humidity. It's up in the mid to high 30s right now. And look, we don't want to talk about the weather consistently and constantly, but it is a big issue for England. It's something that they're going to have to address, which is why they are here in West Palm Beach right now as I speak to you. They want to try and force that acclimatisation as quickly as possible. This is possibly the hottest place in the US right now, possibly the most humid right now, and so seeing these players even just doing a light jog around the ground, they will have felt that. They will have felt it very, very significantly. But we can see Thomas Tuchel out there looking match fit. He's been bouncing the ball on this turf as well to see how it reacts. It's a bit new for him, it's a bit new for everybody. Of course, for Thomas Tuchel, it's his first ever World Cup, his first international tournament. England qualified with a perfect record, didn't they? 8 wins out of 8, no goals conceded. But that man in your screen right now will be judged entirely on what happens in the next 5 to 6 weeks out here in the US. He will be hearing an awful lot from the likes of his captain, Harry Kane, who's right over on the left-hand side. We saw Harry Kane stepping off the plane yesterday. His 3rd World Cup. Huge moment. And I don't think you can overplay what an honour it is to wear the captain's armband for England at a World Cup. There are only 10 living people who have taken the armband at a men's World Cup finals. Harry Kane you're seeing out there now. Eric Dyer did it. Steven Gerrard, Frank Lampard, David Beckham, Alan Shearer, Peter Shilton, Terry Butcher, Brian Robson, and all the way back in 1982, Mick Mills. So it is a real honour for him, and if he plays in a game, which we fully expect him to, of course, he will match Billy Wright in the record of being an England captain with wearing the armband in 3 World Cups. So a real honour for him, and boy is he in good form. I think it's significant that he's in such good form, you have to say. He's had a storming season for Bayern Munich, 63 goals in 55 appearances for club and country. He's had a bit more time off than the rest. Because the Bundesliga season finished a couple of weeks ago. Of course, the rest of the players that are out there only finished the Premier League season 9 days ago. But there are 26 members out there on the pitch, all training as I speak to you. And of course, some of those are not, some of the proper members of the squad, if you like, are not here yet. The 4 Arsenal players who played in the Champions League. Dean Henderson, the Crystal Palace goalkeeper, who had that Europa Conference League game. He will join up tomorrow. The rest of the Arsenal contingent you'll see out with these guys later next week. They will be here in time for that friendly against New Zealand in Tampa on Saturday, but don't expect them to feature at all in that game. Their build-up for the World Cup will start next week.
Training for the first time since they landed in the USA. Let's go live once again to Rob Dorset, who is there for us. We can see the players being put through their paces, not least Anthony Gordon, who's out there after his big move from Barcelona.
Dharmesh, it's extraordinary, isn't it? What a week it's been for Anthony Gordon. Yeah, £70 million move to Barcelona from Newcastle. What is going through this man's mind? It's his first ever World Cup. And of course, at the Euros, which our camera's just getting drowned by the sprinkler that's just come out there. Well done for avoiding that. The timing is absolutely impeccable, isn't it, with these sprinklers? But in terms of Anthony Gordon, yeah, what a time for him. 80 million euros, 69.3 million pounds. What is going through his mind right now? It must have been a whirlwind for him when he was unveiled at the Nou Camp last week, and now he's out in West Palm Beach with this England squad preparing for his first World Cup. It's significant for him as well because he only made 1 appearance at the Euros last summer, and a total of 5 minutes, by the way. He came on in the 89th minute in a 0-0 draw in a group game against Slovenia. So with that in mind, you can expect that this will feel very different for him. I expect him to get a lot more game time out here. 17 goals and 5 assists for Newcastle this season, despite Newcastle's worries. But of course, the big debate will be whether it's him or Marcus Rashford who starts on the on the left wing for England. And if you look at Marcus Rashford, it's such a favourite of Thomas Tuchel's, you have to say. He was the first player that Thomas Tuchel called after he got the England job 17 months ago to say, you are going to be very important for me. And he's been very important for Barcelona this season as well. 28 goal involvements in all competitions, 14 goals, 14 assists. But of course his club future is completely up in the air right now, Marcus Rashford, because with Barcelona signing Anthony Gordon, do they need another left winger to sign in the summer? He's just over on the far side. We can see Marcus Rashford. Look, just really slick haircut that he's got in time for the World Cup. We've seen him performing incredibly well and working really hard. He's been out here in Miami. We're just getting drowned by the sprinklers while I speak to you. Darmish, I tell you can't believe it. It's the way it always is. You've been here yourself, you've seen it. But in terms of those squad numbers that we've had released today, it's Marcus Rashford who's got number 11. Does that suggest that in the Thomas Tuchel mind right now, Marcus Rashford is ahead of Anthony Gordon? I think we've seen that in qualifying. I think that's the reality. I think Rashford is slightly ahead of Anthony Gordon in those choices for left wing. We shouldn't read too much into those squad numbers. I think we should make that point. The fans will, of course they will. It's really interesting what is going to happen there. And I mentioned the sprinklers that are just drowned us here. We weren't expecting that to happen. It's Thomas Tuchel who has been micromanaging those finer details. He came across to the ground staff and said, look, it's a little bit sticky out there. He doesn't want any of those players you're looking at to twist an ankle, to turn a knee maybe while they're training out there. They're slickening that surface up in very hot conditions, and that's why we got drowned, Darms.
Rob, you mentioned those squad numbers. Another significant one, I guess, is Jude Bellingham. He will be number 10 for this World Cup. There was talk, would it be Eze, would it be Morgan Rogers, would it be Jude Bellingham? It is Bellingham who's got that shirt number. Should we read anything into that?
Again, I think it feels to me these squad numbers at major tournaments are more like a pecking order, and I don't think you could argue that Jude Bellingham, with his incredible pedigree for England and all that he did in the last Euros, etc., is ahead of Morgan Rogers in the England pecking order, but he doesn't feel like he's ahead of Morgan Rogers in Thomas Tuchel's mind. It's Morgan Rogers, the man there in your shot, who's just running towards us on the left-hand side, look, right ahead of us there. It's Morgan Rogers who's featured there he is, look. It's Morgan Rogers who's featured very heavily for England in the warm-up games, and it's been such a big debate, Rogers or Bellingham in that number 10 role. And let's not forget, there's some chap called Phil Foden. There's another guy called Cole Palmer. There's another player called Morgan Gibbs-White, who are all exceptionally talented number 10s who aren't even here. So the battle for that coveted number 10 shirt is huge. And yes, it feels that Jude Bellingham is the senior player. He's been to more tournaments, of course. He's been key for England for so long now. But Morgan Rogers is the man, it feels like, who's in possession of that number 10 shirt if you look at the qualifying. Thomas Tuchel has been a huge fan of Morgan Rogers. He's had an extraordinary season for Aston Villa. He is now a Europa League winner as well, of course, Morgan Rogers. So that battle between Bellingham and Morgan Rogers for a starting place in Tuchel's 11, I think is going to be something we're talking about for the next couple of weeks and beyond.
Rob, I know we shouldn't go too far into the squad numbers, as you mentioned there, but the fans and the media are going to read lots and lots into these squad numbers. Just on the team selection itself, is there a scenario where Thomas Tuchel could actually play both Jude Bellingham and Morgan Rogers in the same team?
Yes. Absolutely, that's an absolute possibility because Morgan Rogers has come off the left wing for Aston Villa on a number of occasions this season. Jude Bellingham has been used as a number 8 for England. He's also been used as a number 9 for England as well. So they've certainly both got that versatility. But if you look at England's other attacking options, I think it's unlikely we're going to see Morgan Rogers and Jude Bellingham on the pitch. I think Tuchel has made it clear when he announced his squad 10 days or so ago that it's horses for courses. He wants players to play in a specific position. Yes, the flexibility that some of these players offer with their versatility in other positions is key, but he wants the players to play in their strongest positions. And you look at the other candidates we've got out there. We've been talking about Anthony Gordon and Marcus Rashford on the left wing. We've got Bukayo Saka on the right wing. When the Arsenal contingent join up after another few days rest after the Champions League final, you've got Noni Madueke, you've got Eberichi Eze out there. And so I think that's going to be really significant. I think Tuchel will try and play their players in the strongest positions that they possibly can. But let's see how things progress. I mean, I don't want to jinx it. And in fact, everybody I've mentioned this to at the FA and the coaching staff around here this morning in West Palm Beach has rolled their eyes when I've mentioned this to them. Those players you're looking at out there today, we don't think any of them have any injury problems. And that has not happened in living memory, I don't think, with an England squad coming to a major tournament. The metatarsals that dominated Wayne Rooney and David Beckham's preparations for the 2002 and the 2006 World Cups. Think about the Euros last summer, where all of the talk was about Luke Shaw's fitness and whether he would be able to play any part in the tournament at left back. He did, but only in the final in Berlin. That's the first game he started for England at the Euros last summer. Whisper it quietly, very quietly, but all the players you're looking out there at the moment have a clean bill of health, and that will be incredibly good news for Thomas Tuchel.
Well, you really have jinxed it, haven't you, Rob, now? Look, 21, as you mentioned, of the 26-man squad are there, plus a few extras.
Yeah, absolutely right. And it's almost a shame to call them extras because they are here by right. And if we just pan across to the left, you can see Alex Scott there standing next to Morgan Rogers, the Bournemouth man, who's had an extraordinary season. And I know he was a little bit disappointed himself that he didn't make the 26-man squad. So credit to him that he decided to come out here. Thomas Tuchel, with those Arsenal players absent right now until the weekend, wanted to make sure that there was a full complement of players out there training. And you can see Josh King just behind him as well, by the way. Be interesting if we get to speak to him later now that Marco Silva has just left as his manager at Fulham. I wonder what will be going through his mind. He won't probably even know that news that we've broken on Sky Sports News in the last 10 minutes. But a real honour for these players to be out here. They've cut their holidays short, and that will be made an impression on Thomas Tuchel. Remember, we've got some big Nations League games coming up in the autumn. You think of the likes of Rio Ngamoa, you think of Josh King, you think of Alex Scott out there, you think of Ethan Nwaneri, who's here as well. And they will have gone up in Thomas Tuchel's estimation, the fact that they've cut short their holidays to be out here training with this England squad. But as I say, don't expect them to be here after the two friendlies. Remember, England play New Zealand in Tampa on Saturday. They then play Costa Rica in Orlando in their final warm-up game a few days later. But all of the players you're looking out there that we're talking about, Ngamoa, Alex Scott, Josh King, etc., and Nwaneri, they will be available for England. They may get an England cap in those friendlies, depending on what happens over the next few days, depending what sort of state the Arsenal players are in when they join up later this week as well. But it's incredibly hot here. This is a significant moment, I think you have to say. Those England players feeling that turf under their feet for the first time. We've talked an awful lot about the grass out here, and the players are looking at it. We saw Thomas Tuchel bouncing a ball. We've seen some of the other nations that have been out here already criticising the turf because maybe the bounce is a bit deader than they were expecting. That's all what these England players are experiencing right now while they're holding these towels between them and working in little groups. It's a strange little warm-up session, but they will be trying to get every aspect of advantage they can and learning about this turf, learning about the balls that they've got out there that are going to be the balls they use in this tournament. All of these are firsts, and they're significant firsts for this England squad. And let's not forget, they're here for one reason. This isn't a holiday for them. This is not just getting a load of caps under their belt. Thomas Tuchel has made it very clear to these players he wants them to win the World Cup. England have made the successive European Championship finals. They are serious contenders. If they can cope with the heat, they could go a long way in this tournament.